What's up, you guys? Welcome back to another episode of the Stella Ray Herself podcast. It's me, Stella Ray. Welcome back to another episode, y'all. Thank you so much to everyone who's been listening and sharing on your story and on Twitter and everything and commenting on YouTube. All of that really means a lot to me, and this podcast has just honestly brought me a lot of joy and a lot of purpose in my life, so I'd like to thank you guys for that. Don't forget to share it on your story. Tweet it to me. I screenshot of you listening, and I'll repost, retweet, all of that. Leave me a comment with your thoughts. I love replying to comments. Opening the discussion on whatever the fuck. Y'all know the vibes. I'd like to share with you my beverages today. We have a Dunkin' iced coffee because they said I would get triple points, which, let me actually see if I did. Because if y'all know me, I don't really love a Dunkin'. I feel like I was getting them a lot for a minute. Oh my god, I did. 46 points to a free beverage. Because they were doing, like, if you had the app, there was free coffee like every Wednesday or something. So it was like perfect. I would go get my free coffee, and I guess that was before they had oat milk too. So basically I got an iced dark roast coffee with oat milk and a vanilla shot. And if you guys saw my story, I made a sugar-free vanilla syrup. So then I sweetened it with that, and it wasn't bad, but it's just like something about a venti cold brew with 2 pumps classic and oat milk just really hits different. And it's cheaper than this. I don't know. I just don't love it. And I know people get, like, there's, like, cooler stuff you can get, but I feel like a lot of their other options either would be too sweet for me, or they have, like, dairy in them. Like, what's the one thing that has dairy? I forget. But, yeah. So it's like, I just like I always see it on TikTok. Part of me longs to be a high schooler these days. Like it just must be so different. Like, yes and no. I feel like I talked about this recently. But just seeing, I guess, like, it makes me nostalgic. Like, seeing TikToks of, like, people that are obviously in high school, and they're like, oh, driving to get coffee, like, before I start studying. And I guess probably people in college too, but it just makes me nostalgic to my high school days. I'm like, damn. Wow. I think it's so true that, like, it's, like, really, I don't know. What am I trying to say? I think I'm thinking of this Drake lyric, which we're going to get into. But I was, just looking up reading the lyrics, basically, of a bunch of Drake songs and listening to them. But something that stands out to me, even regardless of what I want to talk about today, is I feel like he always makes references to, like, not exactly these words, but, like, the come up is almost better than getting there. And I feel like that's, probably we've seen that in a poster at school somewhere, or we've probably heard that cliche, like, it's about the journey, life's about the journey. But I feel like it's just a good reminder to stay in the moment, because it's so easy to, for me at least, it's so easy for me to romanticize the past and just think about it, like, in such a glowing light, like, wow. Because I think of high school, like, 2015, y'all know, an iconic year for us all, but one of my most iconic years. I feel like I've been talking about 2015 in every fucking video and everything recently. Something about the fall time, y'all. It just brings me back. But, like, it's not like that was, like, when I think about it, I was like, I actually had a lot of anxiety at that time, and, like, it was actually, like, really hard in a lot of ways. And, like, I was in school, and I just remember, like, having that feeling, I'm sure you can relate, of just, like, wanting to get out of my hometown, and, like, just wanting to get the fuck out, like, get away from my family, like, just do my own thing. And it's like, how old was I then? 16? It's like, I couldn't do that yet. And just that feeling of, like that, ugh. But then now I look back, I'm like, wow, simpler times, simpler days. Like, those were really the days. Even, I tweeted this, I think, but, like, not me romanticizing summer 2020, like, not to the same extent, obviously, because that just happened. But even now, it's like, you forget all the little stresses and worries, and it's just like, wow, those are really the days. And I even remember thinking that this summer, because there'd be times where I was like, fuck, like, this is a lot of antics, or like, oh my god, here we go again. And I would literally think, because now it's like I'm more aware of it, you know, than I was when I was younger, obviously, because you experience it, so then you know. But I literally remember thinking, like, I'm really going to look back on this, like, wow, who remembers we couldn't go out, so we were just at the pool every fucking weekend. Yeah. So reminder to live in the moment. Because the only time we ever have is now. And that's crazy. Anyway, my other beverage is a lemon hibiscus tea, because it's actually cold as fuck. Like, I was cold last night, and I had my comforter, my sheet, and a blanket on top of me. I wasn't wearing pants. Maybe that would have helped. But I woke up, like, so congested, just, like, dry, because it was cold. Like, it was, like, and, like, I'm wearing a hoodie right now, y'all. Like, I'm glad about that, because I can go outside and not be sweating instantly. Everyone watching this is like, yeah, it's been fall, bitch. Not here, okay? Like, fuck. It's Scorpio season now, and I realized I should have talked about Scorpio season last week, because at the time that the podcast went live, it was Scorpio season, I believe. But we're talking about it today, so whatever. Shout out to all the Scorpios. I've been, you know, talking about it a lot on, here and there, but on IG and on Twitter. So we're going to really get down to the bottom of the tea right now. Decided to read the description from this book that we were talking about last week. Scorpio, October 23rd to November 21st. It is a water sign. It is a feminine sign, and it is a fixed sign, which so is Leo, so shout out to us. Pluto. Ooh. Pluto rules regenerative forces and the beginnings and ends of phases in life. So, I think it's especially interesting that we also have Mercury retrograde going on right now, and Mars retrograde. But, you know, just, I feel like to begin with, Scorpio season. I feel like a lot of self-discoveries can be made, whether it is about, like, your actual, like, self, like, who you are as a person and your characteristics or your flaws or patterns in your behavior, but also just in your life. Because, you know, internal versus external, I guess. I guess they can affect each other. But I feel like I always just have a lot of, like, reflections during this time. And I feel like because of Mercury retrograde also going on, like, bitch, it's even more heightened. So I know for me, and I feel like I've said this, like, so many times over these past couple weeks, just because people ask me. I did a live, I think, and I think I talked about it in a vlog as well. But I'm going to say it again because fuck it. But I just love this time of year. Like Scorpio season, Sagittarius season, Capricorn season. Again, I'm sure you've heard me say this, so I apologize if you have. But, you know, Scorpio season, discovery. What did it say? Like, beginnings and ends of phases in life. So, I don't know. I just feel like years for me, it's like the year starts out, you know, we have this energy of like a new year, like new goals, but it's also kind of like some leftover stuff from the last year. And then I feel like spring, I'm just always kind of trying to like almost subconsciously, I want to say figure out who I am, or like, what is this next phase? You know, it's just, I don't know. I feel like the beginning of the year is just always leftover from the last year, even though it's like new year, new me. Like, I feel like it's always kind of, and then the summer happens. And for me, that's always like a really high point, but also a lot of like antics and just bullshit. Like, I'm on my bullshit in the summer. It's just a fact. That's when my birthday is, bitch. I'm gonna wild out. Even before I even like drank or like anything, like I feel like summer, and I'm sure a lot of you can relate. But even just like, I want to say spiritually, but even just like in a self-growth way, I feel like summer is just like where the experience happens, at least for me, and like the life. Like, I'm not sitting back reflecting, I'm in it. Then we have the fall, bitch, and especially this season, it's like Virgo season, honestly, is kind of when it starts, because, you know, we have to organize our lives after the antics bullshit of Leo season. But these last couple seasons, Scorpio season, Sag season, Capricorn season, for me, it's just always when I'm like, let me get on my, like, back on my grind. I was going to say back on my bullshit. Back on my grind. Scorpio season, you know, self-realization, self-discovery. I'm reflecting on the year and like almost like what I accomplished that year, whether it's like actual goals or just self-growth, like growth within myself. Maybe you can't see it, it's not a tangible like thing I achieved, but you know, what have I learned, whatever, like what do I need to get rid of? Again, beginnings and ends of phases in life. Then Sag season, you know, like I have a clear vision now of who I am and where I want to go, where I want to take this journey that I'm on. And you have this fiery energy. We're expanding our horizons, y'all. And in Capricorn season, we're back on the grind. I'm like, yes, a new year is coming up and we're going to put this vision to work. We're going to start taking this journey to the top, and then it starts all over again. So like, I feel like that's just always how it goes. And I feel like looking back at photos and, you know, I'm reflecting on years and stuff, it's always like, that's just how I feel looking at like pics from January. I'm like, wow, I didn't even know like who I was yet. And I could say that about this year. Like, you had no idea what was about to happen, because it still just feels left over from the previous year to me. Again, even though there's like this new year, new me energy, and like, what are we gonna achieve? It's like you still don't know, you're like going into it. So let me know if you can relate at all. Does anyone think of years that way? And I feel like I can like see it in my mind. Like, it kind of looks like a calendar, like the months, but then it's also like pictures. Like, I don't know. I have that for like time, like years too, like a timeline. Like, I just have a certain vision of it, and I don't know if like my brain made that up or if it's from like a deep memory, like in kindergarten or something. But I just always like think of it in a certain way in my head. So yeah, I'm just really excited, and I'm sure you guys have seen, you've heard me talk about it, you've probably seen it in my vlogs, maybe you've even just noticed the vibe in my content. Like, I just really feel like back on my grind. The antics are over. And I talked about this in the end of my most recent vlog. Some people have been loving the long vlogs because it's like 40 minutes. Some people, well, actually one person was like, I do not have time for this. I'm like, so sorry. Let me know what's an appropriate vlog length to you. I feel like I like a long vlog because then I can like go back to it. Because sometimes I just want to watch something like while I eat, and I feel like sometimes if it's like a 10-minute vlog, it's like, okay, well, now I don't want to go back to it because there's only like 3 minutes left. But if it's like a long vlog, it's like I still have so much to enjoy later. Personally, I don't know. Anyway, back on my grind. Like, I just feel that, and I just feel good, y'all. Even though it's Mercury retrograde, even though there's a whole lot of bullshit happening, and we are witnessing the downfall of this civilization, personally, I'm like, my content's been kind of good recently. I feel kind of proud. And I said this in that vlog, but I guess my reason for like sharing this and like how I've been feeling and like reflecting over these past few years, and even just, you know, from 2015, honestly, which is I feel like it's also an iconic year because that's when I was starting to take social media, YouTube, whatever, seriously, and like posting regularly, and like, yeah. So I feel like even though I've been making videos for years and years, that was when it was like, yes. And I was finally old enough to where it was like, yes, you know? I don't know. Anyway, I literally forgot what I was about to say. Fuck. Yeah. Point being, I love this. Fuck, what was I gonna say? Oh, my reason for sharing this. It's just, I guess, to remind people, because like, in my mind, it's like someone maybe could be watching this and be like, wow, I wish I felt that way, or I wish I felt like inspired or motivated. But it's like, I have felt like that. Like, and I guess, again, my point in sharing this is to let y'all know, remind y'all that life comes in seasons and cycles, and sometimes we're going to naturally feel motivated and excited and like on our grind, like, and it's effortless and feels like a flow. And sometimes, some seasons, some months, some years even, it's not going to feel like that. And, you know, I feel like that is where the discipline comes in, you know, whether it's with work or with working out or eating healthy or like doing your daily meditation, whatever, self-care. sometimes you're going to have to do the force yourself method, and sometimes it's just going to feel effortless and natural. And we love those times, but we, you know, appreciate them for what they are, and we say goodbye to them fondly. I'll see you soon, you know, when we don't feel motivated. So it's like, I feel great, but I've definitely felt like uninspired, and I've definitely had to like question myself and like my journey, and like, it sounds like so dramatic, but like, you know, I don't know, just like in life in general, like, damn, I feel like it's so, bitch, this is what I wanted to fucking talk about. I'm so glad I just remembered this because I did not write it down. But I was thinking, first of all, I was just kind of reflecting on like my childhood, and see, Mercury retrograde reflections. And I was just thinking of all the times that like I got in trouble, or I felt like just shame, like I fucked up, or like, you know, a teacher yelled at me. I just remember like being so affected by that when I was young, and it still affects me today, y'all, you know, like old habits die hard. And then I was just kind of thinking like, you know, when people say, what advice would you give to your younger self? And I just kind of made this connection in my head, like, damn. Well, first off, it's like, I was kind of almost like mad thinking about that. Like, I was just a kid. Like, obviously I made that decision, or I fucked up, or I made a mistake, or, you know, I was talking in class, or whatever. Like, I was a kid. I was like a teen, like, obviously. Like, that just makes sense. So I was getting kind of like, what the fuck? Like, why do we get in trouble for bullshit? Like, but then I was like, you know what? This is a good realization to have, because it's like you can forgive yourself for making a mistake. Whether it's bullshit, like I was talking in class and the teacher yelled at me and I felt like bad, or like a more serious, like actual mistake you made. It's like, now looking back, I can realize like I was growing up, I was learning. So it reassures you, you know, you're like healing that and forgiving yourself. But then also, back to like advice I would give my younger self is like, I would remind myself and tell myself that everything you're going through and experiencing and thinking, and all your insecurities and things that you're questioning, and like, am I normal? Is this normal? Like, it's all normal. And, you know, everything passes, and like, it's fine. Like, I think I would just tell myself it's fine. Like, the way that you're feeling is fine. Especially in those early, like, really awkward years. I feel like middle school, you know, you're kind of like making that first transition from child to young adult. And it's just like, there's so many insecurities. And I just remember like, you know, you have insecurities about your body, and like your body's changing, and then like fitting in at school, and like I want people to like me. And just, I remember being really stressed out as like a kid about so much. And it makes sense, honestly, because I think someone was tweeting about it, and I was like, damn, like it just clicked for me. Like, that makes sense. They were like, being a kid must be stressful as fuck, because like you don't know what's going on. Like, all this shit is new to you, and you don't even like, thank you, like, dead ass. So then I took that like advice I would give my younger self to myself now. It's like, you know what, everything I'm experiencing right now is normal too. You know, as I've talked about before, like this, I guess, am I a young adult, or is that like for teens? Because I feel like I'm actually officially an adult now, but I'm like on the younger side of an adult. But it's like young adult, I think of like young adult novels. I don't know. But you know what I mean. You know, just almost questioning your life again, and like questioning society, and like, damn, stressed out about your future, and like, what is my career path, and is what I'm doing sustainable, or I don't even know what I want to do yet. Like, it's all normal. And I just wish that, like, first of all, I wish there was like capitalism, because that puts a lot of pressure on us. Like, we could all just be honestly vibing, which, like, yes and no, because shit still needs to get done. So what does that really look like? But I just feel like there's a lot of like unnecessary pressure put on everyone, regardless of like your age or whatever, to like be on your shit, like and you know, we have this vision instilled into us of like what our life should look like at each phase or age or whatever. And it's like, if we're not on that, it's like something's wrong, or like, oh, we better get on it. And it's like, you just come back to yourself and chill out. Like, I really think everything will work out. So yeah, just a good self-reminder. And I feel like, you know, maybe it's something good to practice, especially with this Mercury retrograde of reflections and Scorpio season of beginning and endings. What advice would you give your younger self, and how can you apply that to yourself present day? You know, it's like self-forgiveness and also self-advice and self-help, and also just like whoa. And I'm sure you guys have heard like whatever what I don't know if it's like a saying, but just like the idea of like all your younger selves live like inside you. So, you know, like sometimes when you feel triggered, it's not you present day. It's like you when you were 8, or you when you were 16, or you when you were 5, or maybe it's you don't even remember. So I feel like that's another way to be the observer and to allow yourself to like feel however you feel and not judge yourself for it, and be able to like get through it productively. Because y'all know the classic example that I've talked about of like sometimes you want to cry over a fuckboy and you're like, I'm not sad about this fuckboy, but it's not about the fuckboy, it's about you and your feelings. So, you know, maybe the fuckboy is whatever kind of situation, like maybe you're scared because they accidentally put whole milk in your coffee instead of oat milk. You're like, damn, I feel kind of awkward asking. But it's like, maybe that's actually your younger self, because one time you asked for something and someone yelled at you when you were a kid, and it's like you don't remember that, maybe, but it still happened, so it still affect. You know, a lot of self-realizations, a lot of self-discovery, a lot of Scorpio season. I was looking for another phrase, but none were really hitting. Anyway, let me know if you've been thinking about any of that or have thought of it, or what are your thoughts? Dominant keyword, I desire. I should have put you someplace, somewhere where no one could find you. Scorpio season anthem, y'all. I made a Scorpio season playlist. It's on my Apple Music. Check it out. A lot of Drake and Future. Scorpio is a sign of inheritance and legacies. Its natives are given a sense of purpose and destiny and find truest happiness in dispensing their life force to others. So its opposite, or its polar sign, is Taurus. Taurus is the sign of possessions and owning. And people born under this sign want to possess, collect, and have. They will not easily let go of what belongs to them. Okay. Who's a Scorpio? Comment below. Your most likable trait as a Scorpio is idealism. This is the sign of extremes. Scorpio people are variously described as as powerful, yet weak, independent, yet clinging, passionate, and cold. Clearly, you are a bundle of contradictions, encompassing the best and worst in human nature. The key to your personality is intensity. You do nothing by half measures. You may appear impassive, sometimes unapproachable, but turbulent passions are always roiling underneath, invisible on the surface. So yeah, it's really a sign about like going deeper, like under the surface, you know, like what are the real vibes? Your Scorpio evolution is the journey toward controlling in positive ways, putting order into chaotic situations, being of use to others, and therefore meeting an unfulfilled need, arranging your personal environment so it works smoothly for you. The unevolved Scorpio tries to control other people and manipulate situations for its own greed. Thus, as you see, the forces of light and dark continually oppose each other in your turbulent psyche. The complexity of your mind makes it difficult for you to skim the surface. You must uncover what lies beneath. Yeah. Honestly. You always file away pieces of information, facts, and names, and don't hesitate to use what you know if the occasion arises. When you spot a weakness in a rival, you move in quickly for the kill. How others see you. It's probably your secretiveness that makes people so interested in finding out what you think. You're often the guru in a group, the one with uncanny hunches about the future and piercing insights into other people's motivations. People are aware of your reputation for sensuality and fantasize about you as a lover. You're frequently viewed as over-controlling and too ambitious, even power-hungry, but also as someone who can be trusted because you never make false promises. I feel like Scorpios like really want to have like intense relationships with someone. Like they want to have like a blood bond with you, like if they fuck with you. And it's like if you betray them or like they think you betrayed them, it's like it's over, like very cold. So I wanted to talk about two of the most iconic, legendary Scorpios, Drake and Future. Listen, What a Time to Be Alive has been on repeat ever since the season started. There's just so many hits and so many Scorpio vibes in there. But I feel like they're also two very good examples of Scorpios because, you know, a lot of us are familiar with their lyrics and of their vibes. I feel like both of them talk a lot about like betrayal or like, wow, I found out she was just using me. They both have instances of misogyny in their lyrics. And they go about it in different ways. So I found an article on Revolt, actually, by Trey Austin, The Truth About Future, Drake, and Toxic Masculinity. So he gives examples of different lyrics, and I found a couple examples that I think really hit. I'm such a like what can I use? These raps aimed at past or hopeful conquests, you know, talking about their relationships with women or past relationships, whatever. Drake has more of a commercial appeal and gets away with it. Future, alas, does not. And then I feel like there's also this vibe, you know, oh, I'm just such a nice guy. Like, there's the nice guy, like, almost cover up versus just, like, blatantly, like, I'm good love, enjoy. Like, not specifically that, but just, like, you're either going to blatantly say something toxic or you're going to, like, try to cover it up. Like, but I'm just a nice guy. I'm doing this because I care about you, which is a little manipulative. One of the more famous, better known, should I say, examples is like Future saying, anytime I got you, girl, you're my possession. Even if I hit you once, you're part of my collection. You know, just literally saying you're a possession, you're an object, you're an item. And that's just like a light lyric. Like, obviously he has a lot of lyrics that are, I feel like, worse. But it's just an example of just like blatantly saying it. Versus, we're going to bring it back to 2015, Hotline Bling. I feel like I talked about this then too, but, you know, the song essentially is about a girl that doesn't want him anymore. So he's like, you used to always stay at home, be a good girl, you were in the zone, you should just be yourself. Right now you're someone else. Like, you used to hit me up all the time, but then you switched up on me. And instead of, like, accepting it, like, taking the L, all right, she doesn't fuck with me anymore, it's like, you used to be good. Like, what and, you know, that just goes back to the classic, women are good if they, you know, are just minding, like, staying at home, going to bed early, cooking and cleaning, not going out, not drinking, not shaking ass at the club. That's bad. We don't want that. You're not wifey. I feel like I could make this, like, stronger, but I guess I just kind of bring it up because, you know, I feel like I'm always coming on here and talking about patriarchy and misogyny and, like, cultural and social expectations of women. I just feel like I like to learn about these things and think about them because then it makes me think, you know, in real life examples. Like, I critically think about real life examples. I'm not just like taking things at face value. For example, I was watching some Jersey Shore family vacation clips on YouTube, and you know, obviously I'm not hating on anyone. I don't know these people, but when Mike comes back from prison, he's like, yeah, like, I'm gonna marry this girl because she was by me throughout all the craziness. She never left my side. Or like Vinny's mom doing all his laundry and like cooking for everyone all the time. She, and all the YouTube comments too, like, she is the definition of a selfless woman. They don't make women like that anymore. And it's like, part of you wants to be like, oh yeah, like, she stuck by his side the whole time he was in court and went to prison, and she just never left him even though she could have. Like, yeah, she's still, you know, cooking for her son and all his friends whenever he wants. Like, that's how women should be. Or like, that's just so great. It's like, you know, if you first look at it, just whatever, it's like, yeah, she cares about her bae, she cares about her son. But then it's like, once you start like learning about just these like systems and about just, you know, societal roles and everything, it kind of makes you take it a step further. At least for me, like, now I'm like, well, actually, like, are they really happy doing that? Like, would they rather be doing something else? it just makes you think about it more. But then it's like, even in my own life and dating and in interactions or relationships with men, then I'm able to like wait, am I actually okay with this? Like, is this kind of like expectation? Like, oh, or like on Hinge, I want a woman who can cook. I'll fall for you if you can cook. I was like, that's kind of a red flag. That's just a light one, maybe like a pink, just a very like a toned down one, but like, you know, so I feel like that's why I don't know. I was just kind of reflecting on that today. Like, you can apply it to real life examples and make decisions based on critical thinking rather than just going along with, you know, what we're told. I feel like that is what's really important, because then you really know, like, I'm living for myself and what I want to do and not because of what someone expects of me. You know, that is a definition of a true selfless woman. It's like, yeah, okay, like, I want to do things for my friends and people I love and people I care about, but not at the cost of my own life, not at the cost of my own, you know, my own interests and my own, like, how I want to be spending my day or my time. Yeah, I think there's just this portrait of a woman that's, you know, everything has to come before her own self. And that's why a lot of people get so triggered at, you know, well, I feel like at first it used to be even just like women in the workplace. Like, why are you not at home taking care of your kids? But even examples like OnlyFans or just whatever, it's like, well, what will your hypothetical future kids think? It's like, okay, well, my life comes first. Like, first of all, especially when people don't even have kids, it's like, first of all, it's none of your business to begin with, but then also it's like, why are you making up fake scenarios? You know? So, I don't know. It's just interesting to think about, and I feel like when we do think about these things, we can also remove a lot of the shame, or at least be able to notice when we do feel shame from people around us, men around us, society, you know, because I feel like if a guy were to call me a hoe, that wouldn't bother me now, because I'm like, I would probably laugh at him, like, you still believe in that? Like, whereas maybe in my earlier years when I wasn't as aware of all of this, it probably would have hurt. I would have been like, damn, no, I'm not. But now it's like, and you know, so it actually makes you just more, I want to say empowered, but it just makes you feel like, you know, let me know if you can relate. Let me know if you've ever thought about that. I wanted to talk more about Drake and Future, but I feel like now I'm like, it's been talked about. I don't even care. Like, you guys get the vibe. Scorpio, they're toxic, but in different ways, but also it's the same way. That's like basically all I want to say about that. It's 1:11, bitch. Okay. Another thing I wanted to talk about, I saw a TikTok, this relationship advice guy was answering a question about, and I talked about this in my live, so if you saw it, you already know. But someone was like, oh, like, he watches my stories, but doesn't, like, this guy ghosted me, but still watches my stories. And I'm sure we can all relate. Like, even if someone doesn't ghost you, but, like, you like someone, it's like, when they watch your story, you're like, you did? And the relationship advice guy was like, he is interested enough to watch your story, and that's it. Like, nothing else. That's where it ends. And a lot of the people in the comments were like, yeah, like, I just watch stories, like, it really doesn't mean anything. And I just feel like that's good to remind yourself of. But also, personally, these days, I feel like just because Instagram's so boring, and, like, I feel like it's not like the old days where you could just let the stories play. Like, if you clicked on one, they would play all of them. It's like there's ads in between and it stops. Like, if you click on one, it just stops, right? And I don't care. Like, I really don't. I only watch the first stories that come up. A few people that I care about, you know? Like, I'm interested to see what they posted. Otherwise, it's like, I don't care. So, personally, if I watch your story, you should be honored. I usually intentionally watched it. But that's just me, like, especially a bro. Is a bro really gonna, like, go to that effort? So just don't read too much into it. That's just your reminder. Because I think just hearing that guy say that, like, he's interested enough to watch your story and that's it. Y'all, classic, if he wanted to, he would, And someone in my live last night asked me, like, should I be loyal to a guy that I don't have a title with? And my answer is completely no. First of all, because you just don't want to feel like a dumb bitch. Also, I feel like maybe subconsciously a little bit of that, because I've definitely felt like that too. Like, I don't even want to talk to anyone else. Like, I like this guy, but it's like, that's not my boyfriend. We're hanging out, whatever. That's not my boyfriend. We haven't had that talk. We never said, I'm going to do whatever I want. I can go on other dates. You never said. I think a little bit maybe of it, at least like for me, maybe deep subconsciously down is like, I want him to think of me as like good. Like if he catches me talking to someone else or on a date with someone else or fucking someone else, like he's going to think I'm a whore. But at the end of the day, first of all, if a guy was going to judge you for that when you're not in a relationship, good thing you're not in a relationship, you can stop talking to him. But also, it's like you never had that talk. So don't tie yourself down to someone you're not tied down to. Just a reminder, y'all. Oh, I also wrote this down. I think someone said this in a comment on that TikTok. But take mixed signals as a no. I don't know. I feel like the more I have experienced life, and I know I've talked about this before, but I just need to say it again. Mercury retrograde realizations, y'all, we're really reflecting and reviewing. If you are always going to be, like, honest with your intentions in a relationship, honest about your feelings, which can be so scary. It's so scary to be vulnerable, especially when you're used to not being vulnerable and used to being the chill, I say chill girl because that, like, applies to me, but just, like, chill, like, whoever's less interested wins. It's like, has it ever really worked? Like, yeah, I feel like that works for bullshit. Like, and by bullshit, I mean, like, maybe you can't relate. I don't know, maybe you can't relate. But, like, there's people that maybe you flirt with on IG or you text every so often or you can call them when you're drunk and, like, they're entertainment. But it's not, like, real. Like, that's not someone you want to be in a relationship with. Like, maybe that's not even someone you'll fuck. Maybe you do, but, like, it's just kind of, like, for funsies. Like, you met out or like, oh, we just have always flirted. Like, that's just our relationship, but nothing else. Like, it works for that because it's like just always this kind of like flirtatious mystery. Like, it's just fun bullshit. But I feel like if you actually want like a real meaningful connection or relationship with someone, like, you can't play that game. You just have to honestly be honest and real and vulnerable and like state your intentions. Like, I'm looking for a relationship. I like you. Like, I don't want to just fuck. Then it's like, it feels so scary because like that sense of rejection or like the possibility of rejection can be really terrifying. But at the end of the day, like, I just think for myself, every time that I have played that game of like, I'm going to pretend to be less interested, even if I actually like the person, it's like I've always lost. Like, not necessarily that they've won, but it's like I lose. Because what have I ever gained? It's just like bullshit's going to keep going on. And I feel like I would want to be with someone or invest my energy into someone who respects communication and like vulnerability. And if they can't handle that, it's like, good. Okay, now I know and I can move on because that just shows what kind of person they are. And it's like so hard. And I honestly feel like I really learned that this year, like the hard way. But it's like a hard realization, but like a good realization, because it's like, damn, I can't play games anymore. But it's like, you can if you like genuinely, there's just some people that you'll only ever have that kind of bullshit flirtatious little hee IG story react relationships. Yeah, I'm not even thinking about playing a game because it's not like I'm not interested. Like, it's just bullshit. But, like, someone you actually care about and like and want to invest into, like, you can't be like, should I text them first? Like, yeah, it doesn't mean be over the top, but I think we've talked about on here before, like, there's a line. There's a fine line, but there's a difference between showing interest and being thirsty. Like, showing interest, if you show interest and then you get shut down, it's like, okay, now I know. They're not interested, whatever. If you keep pursuing after they've shown they're not interested, then it's chill out. Like, why are you trying to force it? You know? So it's like, in vibes, we trust. Honestly. Yeah, honestly, I feel like, damn, I'm kind of sad because my podcast last week was so long and I was so proud, but I feel like that's all I genuinely have to say this week. I feel like I've just been, like, vlogging a lot and, like, talking a lot, and I did my live last night, so I feel like I'm out of stuff to say. Like, anyway, so, have you guys heard? So let me know what you want me to talk about next week. Let me know what your thoughts are on any of this. And yeah, I think it's gonna be at least like fuck. There's a whole lot of bullshit going on in this world. The election, Corona going up, everything. But hopefully it'll be a good rest of the year for self-growth. You know. Anyway, post a screenshot on your story of you listening, or tweet it. Tag me so I can repost, retweet, all of that. Leave a comment down below if you're watching on YouTube. And I will see you guys next week. Bye, everyone.